Welcome, everyone, from wherever you might happen to be in the world. My name is Holly Menard, and I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And I'm here with Mark, and he's going to introduce himself in just a little bit. I'm a transformational life coach, and I also work with people at end of life. And that's what drew me to taking a look at grief and the pain that it accompanies and the gift. Yeah. So as a beginning, I want to share that the intent of these interviews is to address the universal difficulty that we have when it comes to discussing death, dying, and grief. And the fact that it's normal, and yet it's not an easy road. And we move forward one step at a time. These open conversations that we're having here include storytelling, often revealing shared fears, regrets, and even shame, assuring us that we're not alone. Stories of healing, and they offer encouragement, strength, and courage to forgive. This awareness helps us to grieve, and as we grieve, find resilience and discover our unique, priceless gifts we may choose to share with others. So with that, I introduced you to Mark.
Yes, my name is Mark Larimer, and I was born on September 3rd, 1958, so I'll be 66 this September. I was born in New York City, Manhattan, in fact. My father was in seminary, so I'm a preacher's kid, tell you a little bit about me. And my mother was a nurse. Both of my parents have passed on, but she was a nurse, and they both influenced me profoundly around my career choice, which was to become a physician. And so I did that. I graduated from medical school in 1984, Penn State College of Medicine in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And then I returned to the Pittsburgh area to do my family medicine residency, which I completed in 87. And then I was an ER doc for 9 years near Pittsburgh, level 2 trauma center. And I got to see a lot there. And yet I was trained to do family medicine. So we moved to Raleigh in 1996, and I joined Raleigh Family Physicians and had a very busy 11 years. And then I left at the ripe old age of 49, peak of my career, peak of my practice, because I was burned out. And I feel that too. It's just, and I didn't know how burnt out I was until I pulled out, took a break, and realized that I was just, working myself to death. And I'm very grateful I realized that early on. And so, so that's about me. And again, I left practice in 49. I've been studying holistic and working on my own personal healing, which I know is essential, my friends, for myself to find my own personal healing, and for you to find your healing, and Holly as well, of course. To feel whole. We've all been wounded, and so as children, and there's a spectrum on that. But in any event, we all, I firmly believe, need to find that healing and feel whole again, safe, easy.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
That's my intro. That's a little bit about me.
Thank you for sharing that. And so tell us about your daughter.
Cass.
Yeah.
Well, she was born in May 8th of 1990, and she was late, and she demanded attention. She's always not a demanding child, but I mean, when she needed something, when she was an infant, she cried. It was an intense cry. And we paid attention, we couldn't ignore her. We didn't want to ignore her. And so that's how she came into the world. And again, it was a challenge to be her father, not like a horrible challenge, but just something where I had to, learn from my daughter how to, be a father. She taught me. Okay, no one taught me. My parents, my dad modeled that for me, of course, but she really taught me how to be a parent. And
what did she teach you?
she taught me to, it's a good question. She taught me to teach my children by modeling, number one. I mean, I could tell her what to do till I was blue in the face, or anyone for that matter, but to actually live that and be that was the key for me. So that's how, and again, interacting with her, learning how to be her parent, that taught me. Does this make sense? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
You just didn't want to hear dogmatic.
well,
kind
no,
of
no,
stuff.
and she was fiercely
Like,
independent.
be it.
Yes.
You be it, Dad.
Well, she would be and be fiercely autonomous, self-driven, self-governing, is what autonomy means. And she had, if she could, she had to do it herself. She didn't want any help tying her shoes, for instance.
Yeah,
I taught her to tie her shoes when she was 4 or 5. I showed her twice, and then she's struggling to do it herself. I said, no, I do it. I mean, that's how smart she was. I'm doing it, whatever. And so she taught me about how to raise a fiercely independent child with love and not harshness. Never punished her, never, ever punished either of my kids, because that just teaches them that shame and guilt, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Bad boy, bad girl, you did this, you deserve to be punished. You go or I'll hit you. Never any violence in the home, never, ever. So again, she taught me, even though she challenged me with her, I guess, demanding nature, that she taught me how to love and love gently and completely. I'll say that.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so Mark, what was it like as Cass grew up and the kind of developmental milestones along the way and any kind of challenges that she may have had?
Good question. She was precocious. Crawled early, rolled over early, crawled early, cruised, walked. She was walking at 11 months, and she spoke her first words right around a year. And by the time she was 18 months old, she could speak sentences, 2 or 3 word sentences, which tells you, and she was brilliant, intellectually brilliant child. So she was precocious, she was brilliant. She, reached all these milestones ahead of most of her peers, I imagine. Again, when she went to school, she was right on top of it. She got, by and large, straight A's. So again, very intelligent, and lived an idyllic childhood, with her and her brother, I believe, because Dad could do no wrong. He was a great dad, but the problem became when I left. And if any of you out there have ever been in a marriage, not discrediting your former spouse or the parent of your child or children, but learning how to, and I'd been there all the time, and all of a sudden Dad's gone. So my daughter, and again, understandably, was angry.
How old was she?
She was almost 12 when I left. So she again, precocious on her development. She got her menstrual cycle right around there. So she's got the hormones going, and then Dad leaves, and it's her and her mom and her brother. And so, and I get that. I get that why she was angry at me. And then it ultimately led to a place where she needed her own help. And we had to place her in a school where she got exactly the kind of education, not just intellectual education, but emotional and social education. And that was very helpful, I believe, ultimately. So, and then.
So you loved her unconditionally.
Dearly and unconditionally.
And she was precocious, and she did amazingly well as far as school went. What was it like for her with her peer group?
Well, Cass, she may have been like me. She may have felt like she didn't actually fit because she's so smart and, again, precocious, ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And so I think she may have felt like a bit of an outcast. They also changed schools, at their mom and I agreed, put them in a different school for 5th grade, I think it was. And then, of course, different middle school, ultimately then high, and so forth. And then she went to the private school. So I think she may have had a feeling disconnected or whatever, out of place.
Mhm.
So, that influenced her as well. And
Yeah, no doubt. That was a lot of adjusting,
it
changing
was,
schools and all
it was, and
that kind of growing into a young woman stage.
exactly, all that hit her at once.
Yeah.
So,
And dad leaves the house
right,
in the midst
Dad's
of
gone
it.
in the midst of that, exactly.
So time went on,
Mhm.
right? As I
Mhm.
remember, you told me she went to nursing school.
She did. She went to she did 3 months worth of training in 16 years. They call it accelerated baccalaureate, got her RN. And I said, Cass, well, why don't you just go ahead and go to medical school, become a doctor? She goes, too much time and too much money. So she had a practical intelligence as far as that goes. And she said, I'll become a nurse. And if I really enjoy it, I want to go further my education, I'll become an NP, a nurse practitioner. So she did exceptionally well. And then she found herself in a very unstable mental state. And my former spouse and I were very concerned. I had to go and flew out to where she was living and put her into a mental health unit where she stayed for about 8 days. But she was really just, had lost her mind. Okay. And I've been there. Okay. Just so everybody knows, I'm not ashamed of saying that one of the few mental health labels I was given is the bipolar 2 for me. So hypomania, not mania, not total craziness or whatever, but kind of energetic, not sleeping as much, whatever, making impulsive decisions and so forth.
Which I can relate to.
Well, okay, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
both know how difficult that can be
Extremely.
on our family and friends when they watch us and they're like, he's out of his mind, let's just wait, I guess, or whatever. Because, again, you may remember, no one's going to tell me what to do. And in that state of mind, it's endorphins. You're high because of your brain chemistry, and the endorphins are your natural narcotics that your body makes to relieve pain and so forth. So, but
Cass had that experience.
She did to the extreme, and then as we have said, and I've said, and others have said, what goes up must come down, and the higher you go, the harder and the deeper you fall. And that's, and I can relate to that, as you may be able to relate to as well.
I can relate.
And what helped me, and friends, I want to just make this real clear. What saved my life was electroconvulsive therapy, because I didn't want to be here no more. And I, with the encouragement of my wife and the wonderful psychiatrist that I saw, I got the ECT, and it literally changed my life, gave me back my life. And so there's hope, is what I'm saying, folks. Do not believe that because you're depressed and all the drugs ain't working that you can't be healed. And when you're through that, you got to get to what drove the whole thing. What drives depression? Anger. Because depression, I believe, is anger turned inward, which is guilt. It's not them, it's me that's the problem. I'm responsible for whatever happened out there. And then that becomes shame over time, and then ultimately clinical depression, because you're burying it. So and I've said this, I said that I will never, ever get back to that state unless I can't find a healthy outlet for my anger, or won't express it at some point. And not in a healthy way, not like, which I've felt, a tremendous amount of anger and sadness, of course.
And what was that impact like for Cass? What you were going through?
Well, that's a very good question. I didn't hardly talk to my kids at all, or my former spouse, because I didn't care. I was in so much pain, I did not give a shit, pardon my French. I didn't want to be with my kids, any family or friends. I sat and watched TV all day. I had my schedule set, kind of OCD, another label, but, very regimented. And, and I took, clonazepam to help me sleep. I was on antidepressants, which, at the time. But in any event, and then when I emerged again from that, she was relieved, as others were, and so that's how she responded to that.
So where was Cass in the midst of that? Where was she in her career?
She had, okay, this was in 15, so she was about to get into nursing, her nursing education. And then when she finally did move, I was out of the depression and was able to, you know, be of help to her, you know, get her packed up, whatever, moved out to wherever she was going. So yeah, so that was helpful.
So she got the help. She was there for a very short period of time
Right.
in the mental health facility.
She
And then
wrote-
she was back out in the world.
Right, and just to move back, she
Yeah.
wasn't in a inpatient mental health facility.
Okay,
She went to a therapeutic boarding school,
okay,
and that's where she learned. Again, she got her high school education and degree from that, but she also got some emotional education about how to recognize emotions and then respond to those in a healthy way. That's what it's all about, learning how to know yourself and interact in a healthy way with others,
definitely,
you know. So
definitely. Okay, so then she ends up out in the Pacific
Northwest.
Northwest,
She was
yeah.
up there and she had 3 different, well, she went to Rochester, Minnesota, to Mayo first, and she did okay, but wanted to go somewhere else. And so that's why she moved to the Great Northwest. And again, she did well there initially. She really did well. I was very proud of her, but then she unraveled, you know, and I don't know if it's the stress or just
She met somebody,
whatever.
right?
She did, and it wasn't the healthiest relationship. I don't want to go into those details, but bottom line was not a helpful person, and we didn't know about it. But in any event, that's, I think, in part what led to her ultimate downward spiral. After she went up, she, like I said, she came down.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and you went out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had to, you know, take care of business and make sure my girl was safe and got the help she needed. That's was paramount. And she was in for a little bit, but then left. They deemed her, you know, able to leave, outpatient follow-up. And then again, it took her a few months, but then she plummeted. And that was, again, the challenge. We brought her home, thank goodness. And but it was almost exactly a month after she came home that she took her own life. So we had her for a month, and then she was gone. And you know, I know I'll see her again. I talked to her. Really helpful to talk to her and journal. You know, the journaling process is very helpful, and it's also cool to kind of look back where I was, say 6 months or 9 months ago, and where I'm at now in my life and how I'm doing. And like I said, I'm proud of myself for doing the work, because a lot of people don't do it. They say, "Oh well, it's over and done with. I can't do nothing about it." No, not truth. You're telling yourself a lie,
Right.
and you're pushing it aside, and it will
stuffing it,
stuffing it, and it will hold you back. Whoever you are with that, if you don't explore that, acknowledge it, express it, heal it, it's tough.
Going to impact every area of your life.
Exactly, truth. So.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We can even get used to that, right?
Well, it feels like the norm. So you say, oh, well.
Isn't that what people do?
Well, exactly. Yeah. It's just what everyone does. So I guess it's me, you know, or my life or whatever. So.
Yeah. So we know, one thing we do know is that grief is not time bound, right? It's something we will be grieving as long as we have breath in our body, right?
Well,
yeah.
Yes. And
so how have you found meaning and purpose? I mean, that's a loaded question, isn't it?
No, there's a lot of possibilities there, but what has motivated me is because I've been in the same boat. I've been suicidal, did not take my life, but been severe, you know, significantly suicidal. And it's changed in that I really want to address this. I want to help people learn how to help themselves. No one knows you better than you. And you're with you from the day you were born till the day you leave this earth. And if you can't learn to love that person better, you're screwed. I'm just putting it out there. You will live your life in a state of feeling, if only I had, you know, regrets. Regrets are worthless. all they do is make us feel, bad. And what I like to say, and I've heard this before as well, I did my best at the time. I did my best with the information I had at the time. Cut myself some slack, cut yourself a break, even if you don't feel like you deserve a break, cut yourself a break. Be kinder to yourself than you believe you deserve. That's what I heard a long time ago.
And sometimes you fake it till you make
Fake it
it.
till you make it. No, you gotta
I heard that expression.
wear the mask or whatever you're doing, but eventually you gotta get down to it, to the nitty gritty,
Mm.
as we say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and you did.
mhm,
You
mhm.
definitely did. So share with us some ways that you felt like family and your friends and community showed up for you after Cass died.
Well, a couple interesting things. One was that, again, especially, mental illness and suicide, that kind of thing, it's kept in the closet. People don't want to talk about it. They feel tremendous pain around it or guilt and shame, again, that kind of thing. So they just push it aside. But you really have to, I believe, uh, acknowledge it, like I said. And so people were around me supporting me, but a couple people said, yeah, my child committed suicide and I never knew it. A couple of male friends of mine revealed that to me. And I'm like, I never knew that, but so they wanted to, and again, it's been a comfort to me to have them reach out to me. And I don't know exactly what you've been through, Mark, but I know what it's like to lose a child that way, and I'm here to help. And I got friends who check in on me, my family, of course, I talk to on a regular basis. They've been super supportive. And again, friends in general, who know what happened, even if they don't know the details, they like, Mark, we're here for you, whatever I can do,
That's so important.
it is.
So was there anything that was not helpful? Because, people, I talk, there's skills, right?
Right.
Some people are more skilled at
Interpersonal
being
skills.
able, and being able to actually show up in a way of offering a true kind of a support, not from, wanting to kind of editorialized about their own family, or their own personal situation, but to really be truly present. That's a skill, don't you
Oh,
think?
it's an acquired skill. You got to learn that. And
Mhm.
what I was going to say is when
Yeah.
people find out, with a few people, not a lot, they don't know what to say. So they'll say, "Oh yeah, I know how you feel." No, you don't know how I feel. Even if you've lost a child that way, you don't know exactly how I feel, where I've been, and where I intend to go. So that's
Mhm.
not so helpful. Or people who just, change the subject or whatever. It's too much. And I get that, I get that it's very difficult to even think about it for, I would imagine, every parent to think about losing a child, particularly to suicide. And so, yeah, so those kind of comments, not meant to be, harmful or whatever, are out there. I've had no one, blame me or say, "Oh, Mark, you should have done more, or you could have done." None of that's ever happened, and I don't expect that it would. So, but that's, those are the ways where, it's, I've, again, felt supported, but then, not so supported in those other, few situations, I'll say.
But not the broad strokes,
But
it sounds like.
nope, overall, I've felt very
Very-
supported and loved.
And we all would, that is the ideal, and it's not necessarily gonna be that way. Some people are more unskilled than others, but
Truth.
people really do show up, and they show up in the best way they know how,
There you go.
with the
There you
skills
go.
that
Same
they've
thing.
got,
Yep. Agreed.
and it's
Agreed.
not meant to be hurtful.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, nothing personal. Yeah, so in what ways has your life now been forever changed? Yeah.
Well, again, yes, thank you. The loss, I could never ever replace her, of course. And it has again motivated me to address this specifically when I do the Dr. Lovemark show podcast.
Yeah, you alluded to the fact that your meaning and purpose.
Yeah, well,
So
exactly.
tell us more about the Dr. Mark show.
Well, Dr. Lovemark,
Dr. Lovemark.
LUVMARK,
Okay.
and it's LUV because the slogan for the show is it's the Dr. Love Mark Show, where I invite you to leave the mark of love, my friend, wherever you go. And leave that mark of love first upon your own heart, where you cannot love anyone any better than you love yourself. Bottom line, okay? So love, unconditional love, the ideal is the most powerful healing tool in the universe. And that's my belief. But, love, compassion, I'm here for you, just, all those things that are, that are love.
Gratitude.
Gratitude, being thankful, exactly. These are all, ways to heal. And again, I think that's essential. So again, others have been there for me, times not so much, but by and large, here for me. And yeah, and that's it. So sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and again, I want to emphasize this, my friends, that if you're experiencing signs of depression, not necessarily suicidal thoughts, but you don't care, you're unmotivated, you don't want to be with people, you're isolating yourself, or you're putting on this happy face, but inside you're miserable. Do not ignore that, because it will eat you up. It will destroy you ultimately if you do not address it. And so, yeah, so that's an important piece, I believe, for myself, certainly, and I believe for everyone.
And you have a passion.
Yeah, well,
passion to want to make a difference.
Yes.
In the world for people, because this
Yes.
is all, death happens. It's something
Part of life.
we're all gonna do. We don't think about it in that way, but it's the fact.
Yeah, we're all mortal beings. There is an end point. There's a beginning when we're born, and an end point when we die, leave the body, as I like to look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think that's important.
So you've shared about how painful it's been. You've shared some also about the gifts. Did you want to say anything more about the gifts that you've received?
So
not to downplay the pain whatsoever.
No. There's got to be a kernel of okay, a silver lining to a very dark cloud. And the silver lining is, again, that it's inspired me even more to want to help, particularly around the area of mental illness. I've said this, I intend to bring mental illness kicking and screaming out of the closet. So there's no reason, none whatsoever, to feel ashamed. It happens. The brain chemistry happens. You can't control your brain chemistry. You cannot control your thoughts. You can choose thoughts to focus on, which become beliefs, but you cannot control your thoughts or your emotions. People think, oh yeah, again, stuff the anger. Oh, I'm not angry. Oh, yes, you are. And it's going to eventually, like it has for me at times, come out sideways. Some insignificant thing is just going to piss you off. And you're going to go off and like, whoa, where'd that come from? But yeah, so again, being aware, and so I'm aware of that. Again, I'm going to take dead aim at bringing, this whole thing, the shame and the guilt, pushing that aside. Say, look, we're all humans. We've all had emotional struggles at times, not necessarily clinical depression or anxiety or whatever, but we've all struggled. And we're all part of the same family.
We are.
Family of humans, the humanity. We're all one.
We are.
People. So yeah, so that's.
And that in and of itself is so significant.
Yeah.
I mean, what do y'all think about that? I mean, it's something to really think about when we feel like that we're not a part of this whole family of man, then we're, excuse me, we get disconnected. And when we feel disconnected, then we can make up all kinds of excuses, right?
Truth.
About why, the world's a terrible place. Nobody's going to be there to support me. And that's a road you can go down. And it's a very real thing. And it's not like you pretend that some life experiences cause you to go in that direction, right?
Push you there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then you had that awareness come.
Yes.
That there was another way that you could Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
agree.
found another way.
I agree. And, you know, the painful, I've had a few painful experiences in my life, but the most painful experiences, I'll say, have been my most powerful teachers. Those instances where I got hurt emotionally, not physically, but emotionally, just whatever it was, they taught me again how important it is for me to love myself better.
Yeah.
You know, unconditional is the ideal, and I don't know that any human could ever get there unless you're a yogi or something like that. But point being that, you know, keep working on that, not like you got to do this, Mark, but no, I want to do it. I'm worth it.
Yes.
Right?
Worth
Self-worth.
it.
I'm worth it.
Yes.
Worth every bit of compassion and love I can find for myself.
And when you have a hard time accessing that,
Yeah.
you shared that
Yeah.
you've reached out to in a
Yes.
professional way.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Therapist, again, friends, you know, whoever. Yeah. And yeah, just again, self-care, taking care of myself.
And you're in a grief group also,
I am,
right?
yes, it's a very good survivors of suicide. So it's just people who have lost mostly kids, but sometimes siblings and whatever to suicide. It's been, you know, a group of people who have had a similar experience is so helpful, I think. And one point I wanted to make though, I mean, there'll always be a sense of sadness for me around losing my daughter and my parents and others who've been close to me, but particularly my daughter. But it's not going to hold me back. I'm not stuck in the grief. I'm freeing myself up this process of maybe unpacking stuff in my experience in my head, and also, you know, just learning that I'm going to make it. You know, I am there, and I've got another place to get to that feels even better. How about that? So, and nothing wrong with that, right?
Right. So it's not about you've succeeded if you feel like you've arrived.
Yeah, well,
Right.
yeah. Well, I am here. I have arrived,
Yes.
and I'm not going
In
anywhere.
this
But
present moment.
this present moment,
What did your mom teach you?
that this moment is a
The
gift.
past.
But the past is no longer here.
Yeah.
The future is not yet here. So the only thing that truly exists is the present, is this moment, which is a gift. And that's why they call it the present. That was the punchline. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's this present moment is a gift, and make the most of it. And you know, none of us are guaranteed another moment, another day. So while we're here, I want to live my life as fully and as passionately as I can, and take care of this boy, the boy inside me, right? That inner child, that's the one who needs to feel safe. And so that's where I am.
So would you say that is your message?
My message.
Your message to our audience here?
The message again is that despite what you've been told or taught about yourself, you're wonderful. You truly are, as you are. And the only reason to change is if you want to change. And that's bottom line for me, is that I've learned that I've got to take care of myself, and the opinions of others can influence me, but I'm not going to allow them to make my decisions for me. Or I'm not going to make decisions based on what they want. It's what I want. It's not being selfish. It's being self-centered. It's all about me, but it's about being aware for me of what works best for me. And then as long as what I'm doing isn't hurting someone else, I'm going to do it. You know, if it works for me, I'm going to do it. Take care of this boy. Right? That's right.
So, you're the only one who can.
I'm it.
Yeah. And yeah, so seems like this is a good place for us to
pause.
Yes.
Till the next time.
To be continued.
To be continued,
To
my
be
friends.
continued.
And perhaps at some point we'll flip it around.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
Yeah. So do you have any kind of a point that you could mention for people about your Dr. Love?
Oh, Dr. Lovemark.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's designed to do three things. It's a platform. I'm here to entertain, inform/educate, inform and inspire people to live happier, healthier lives. Bam, bottom line.
Bam,
That's my bottom line.
bam. So
Bam.
do you have a website yet, or do you
I'm
know what
working
your
on
website?
that. I'm working on that. I bought a domain called the Dr. Lovemark Show, but I think that went away. And not that anyone would grab it because it's LUV. Oh, that's what I'll close with.
Okay.
It's a Dr. Lovemark Show where I invite you to leave the mark of love wherever you go, first upon yourself, and make that mark of love. Well, it is your unique mark of love. And that mark of love ideally is universal. Love everyone and everything. Not need to accept them, but just, tolerate even at times. And also, I just lost my total train of thought, which I've derailed myself a couple of times. Oh yes, and I will inspire people to live happier, healthier lives. That's what's going to happen. And if I can do that, my mission is complete. Although I'm not done. Okay, I'm going to be doing this for a good bit, I hope, and I'm going to make some money and earn a living, and I'm going to share most of that with others ultimately. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So,
because wherever it is that you are right now, those of you who are watching, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And if anything that we've shared here today is speaking to you, then go ahead and comment underneath, comment.
down below there, hey, Mark's a very handsome young man. I wonder if he's available. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but yes, what you said, Holly, we appreciate the feedback, my friends, whatever it is, right?
Yes, and be well.
Be well.
And just, you can go ahead and follow or subscribe to this channel, and you'll have the opportunity to join, because I intend to continue to interview people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very
And have a
much.
global reach in the process.
There you go.
So be good to yourselves.
Be good to yourself. There you go. Journey song. Be good to yourself.
That's right. Thank you so much for showing up.
Lots of love.
Peace out.
Yep.